G'day guys. I don't know if you can tell, let me step away from the camera, but currently I have a full medical kit on my body. Can you see where it is? It's right here. I bought myself the immediate casualty care in waistband 2 as well as their mini-med 2. I bought both of them because I wasn't sure which one I would like better, and I'm in New Zealand, so shipping from the US is expensive and time consuming. The reason I bought this is because, one, I am a motorcyclist and I do carry full-on medical kit in my top box at all times. It's got instructions for people if they find me and they need to understand what to do. It's got gauze, tourniquet, Israeli bandages, bunch of different gauzes, glow sticks for marking if it's nighttime, as well as just some small quality of life pills, small band-aids and things like that. But this takes time to get out of here. It takes time for me to park my bike, go around to this, open my top box, rip everything apart, and then now I can start treating wounded. If I come across someone on the road, if I get flung off the side of the cliff or something and my bike remains on the road and I'm on the bottom of it, I can't get to this. So I've always had the mindset of having at least some minor medical equipment at all times on me. Now, I may or may not have watched one too many prep medic videos and got a bit hooked on that, but I don't regret my decisions in buying these equipment. I'm also a teacher, specifically woodshop technology teacher, and kids have a habit of hurting themselves. As much as it's funny, I mean, as much as I would like them to not hurt themselves in my class, it does happen. And when it does, yes, I do have the small boo-boo kit in the corner of my room because we're legally mandated to have it, but that doesn't have a tourniquet, it doesn't have packing gauze, it doesn't have... Yes, I know, what are the chances of a kid actually cutting their arm off? Very little. What are the chances that I might save a life if that does happen and I have a tourniquet handy? Very high. I prefer to have it on person, but because I do interact with young people a lot, because I also have to keep up some outwardly appearances, I chose not to have a fanny pack or a full-on plate carrier, God forbid walking into school like that, to carry my medical equipment. Now, I will say I have not been sent any of these equipment for free, or neither do I have a relationship with Helikon techs or immediate casualty care. I do believe the equipment I got is fantastic, and if you've been thinking about it, and I think you should get it, that's my 2 cents if you just want to stop watching the video there. But I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a combat medic, I've never been in a line of fire. So if you're coming from an area where you're looking for, oh shit, what do I do if I ever get shot? This might line up to be slightly different expectations in your kit, though what I carry for the most part does follow the March protocol and is just extended very slightly. So what did I actually get and what did they look like? So the first thing I got from immediate casualty care, and this is the one I have been carrying all the time with me because it's the smaller of the two, does sit quite snugly in my pants. Oh, now my pants feel loose. First is the immediate casualty care mini-med, the IWB mini-med, which I should have worn a different shirt, which is just really a bit of spandex, wide spandex belt that has been sewn together to create these pockets, right? The other thing I got is the immediate casualty care IWB 2.0. I got both of them with their normal clips, one because price, but two because I don't tuck my shirt in anyway. the benefits of the more expensive clips didn't appeal to me. Both of those cost me about $30 US. Price, the Mini Med was a little cheaper, especially because it was also on sale. The last thing I do carry on me, and you might have noticed that my Mini Med doesn't actually have a tourniquet in it, is a tourniquet holder from Helikon, which lives on my belt in this configuration with a softy wide tourniquet as well as a Sharpie on the side. This will be about a 20 USD item, I believe. I got this when I was ordering a bunch of other stuff at one of my camping stores. This is all made out of Kydex, and the build quality on all three of these items are phenomenal. Okay, I don't see loose stitching. I don't think I would expect anything to come loose as I use them. All the materials feel very quality. I do carry all of those items every day and they haven't shown any sign of wear. I also believe that this tourniquet pouch is compatible with every tourniquet out there. Don't quote me on that, but they do list it on the Helikon website. And of course, these are stretchy pockets on the ICC equipment that you can fit just about anything in. The reason I carry the tourniquet separately to this Mini Med is because I have a compression gauze. I know that this is Rhino Rescue. To me, this isn't life-saving equipment. Packing gauze is, and tourniquet is. This isn't. One thing I also like to point out is that if you're on the I hate Rhino Rescue bandwagon, I don't know if you can see, but this is the only thing that's actually had packaging material dye the inside of my equipment, which does not bode well for what this thing actually is. But this will probably not see light of day unless I come across a head injury or something like that, or it's just to tie something off. In front of that is a small Ziploc baggie that's got some band-aids, a couple of pills, pain relievers, aspirin in case I come across anybody with like a heart attack or something, as well as some steri stripes in there for lacerations that don't require serious blood stopping management. I know this is more of a boo-boo kit thing, however I do prefer to keep this in here because this is always on me. That, the big kit in there, is not always on me. There's also a SWAT T tourniquet, which doesn't actually work as a tourniquet. At least I've been told. That's why I carry a proper tourniquet. But I carry this because it's essentially just a way to hold down bandages while we wait for the ambulance or something. These two would actually be quite interchangeable in my use case, and this will be also backup tourniquet if shit really hits the fan and I suddenly need two tourniquets, which I find quite unlikely to happen in my day-to-day. I've got some gloves as well as a thermal blanket and some duct tape rolled up on a old food court card. In that same pocket are some cheap disposable trauma shoes. I don't use these for anything, so they're just reserved for cutting clothes. And two petrolatum, you know, the gauze with the thingy on it for making chest seals, because chest seals are way too expensive for my taste. And chest wounds would likely be, in a country that doesn't really have a gun culture, is going to be relatively small, especially in the line of work that I do. There was a Mini Med. The IWB is similar, except it's got 3 sections for pouches, and this middle section is for the tourniquet, as well as instead of the clips being in the middle, it's on the ends. The reason I thought I might like this is because this means I could have all of my medical items in one place. However, as I ride, there is a chance that my right arm might be the thing that gets seriously injured, then that's perfectly fine because I can pull that tourniquet out with my left arm and apply it. However, if my left arm is seriously injured, it's pretty difficult. I found it to be quite difficult for me to reach over with my right arm and try and draw that tourniquet out. Hence why I've resigned to using the Mini-Med. And I much prefer this because with the tourniquet and all the other equipment in there sitting inside of my waist, it was actually kind of digging into various places. Not as bad as I thought, but it wasn't as comfortable as the Mini-Med. And the tourniquet holder just rides on my belt like this, about this position, and it doesn't get in the way when I sit or sit on my bike or anything like that. And this means hooked up this way, I can rip it open this way, draw my tourniquet with my right hand, and if I need to, this is actually so close, this is so close to my left hand, I can just push and draw. And my last one, this is the one that I actually, medical equipment that I use the most. Last time I had a kid cut his tendon on his finger in my wood shop using a chisel, and this is what I pulled out. There's a bit of packing gauze that lives in my pocket pretty much always. I carry this when I go running, I carry this when I go do anything, okay? So this is like my universal thing. Oh, this one might have a breach in it. I'm going to chuck it. That's a shame. Anyway, that is my setups. I have found that this to be very easy to draw out of, especially items like this, where it sticks all the way through this like chafing guard, and I could just yank it out of my, yank it out of the side of my body quite easily. And yes, you can stuff these packs as much as you want or as little as you want. I think for me, this is how little as I want or as much as I want, and feel very comfortable that I can take care of myself and potentially somebody injured that I see on the road. I've also found these to be very comfortable when I'm sitting, standing, walking. I actually forget that I have this and this on me at all times, either on my motorcycle jeans or my normal jeans. And this thing, when I'm motorcycling, just rides in front of my Helikon Text number like this, so that it is as accessible as it can be. Because I would say that for me, the most likely chance of injury comes from my motorcycle. I've never noticed this riding up or down my pants or anything. I have noticed that I do need to wear pants that are about half a size to about a size bigger. I didn't know because I've never concealed carry anything, but I am a horizontally gifted gentleman who is getting better from his chronic condition. So I do have pants that are a little large for my waist lying around anyway, and these have been really good for that. I don't know, I wrote on my notes, printing, and I know what it means, like can people notice if it's there? But I don't think anybody really can. No one's pointed out. Yeah, and kids are very inquisitive, and if they notice something, they would have asked me, "Oh, sir, what's that? What have you got?" And I would have told them, medical equipment. I will say, if you need to reinsert, it's quite difficult because it's in your pants and your belt's cinched down. But if you're pulling these out, it's probably not going back in the same way. So, who cares? The only thing I've got of concern is that these have stretched out just slightly. I think it will be a permanent stretch out. I wasn't expecting them to go completely back to shape anyway. However, they're a bit looser than when I first got them. That is not to say that they're using bad quality material. That is probably to say that that is just the nature of the material. Am I worried that it's going to wear too thin or stretch out too much? It's not going to retain anything? Absolutely not. I think the only alternatives in this market for like EDC carrying medical equipment is likely either pocket kits, which I don't have any of, or waist kits like fanny packs, or having it in your bag if you're a backpack person, or ankle kits, which I didn't want to do because my boots go higher than what normal ankle kits would do for my motorcycle boots, as well as one of the highest points of injury for motorcycle injuries are actually ankle related or lower body extremity injuries. So if my right leg is in tethers, something must have happened to it, right? If I crushed something on it, I don't know, I rammed that into a rock, well, my medical equipment's probably not going to survive that if my bones didn't survive that. Hence why I opted for a waist kit. Not to mention, I believe a US Army study has shown that anything worn below the waist is exponentially more heavier on the body than anything worn at waist or higher. So hence why I opted for these instead. So would I say that these items are good for what they are, especially for the price point? Absolutely. Do I think everybody should have one of these? I don't think so. I'm a weirdo. But also, I do think everybody should have some medical equipment on them at all times. You never know what might save someone's life. But the important part is that you get training and you practice. I know it sounds like an absolute dork, but I actually spent hours just... I have a practice tourniquet, pulling it out, putting it on myself. I practiced how to use a bandage properly. I went and got first aid training. That is the most important part. If you can go and get first aid training, get first aid training, and then look at equipment. For me, I think these are a good addition to my normal everyday kit. Is there a possibility that I will go the rest of my life and never have to use any of this? Absolutely. Is that a great thing? Absolutely. And I would hope that I never have to. But if I do, I will be so glad that they're there and they're on person. Thank you for watching. I hope you got a good idea what these are for and who these are for and how they work. And I hope you have a great day. Peace.